How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Amatsutsumi. So Kyoko is kind of tied to Makoto right now because her childhood friend Suzuka has been brought back. Well, maybe not necessarily brought back, but she is a ghostly figure that is present because of the Kotodama and whatever the hell Kyoko's power is mix that's going on. Her existence is unfortunately tying Kyoko and Makoto physically somewhat together. They cannot be more than 10 meters apart, I believe. So that's the current situation. Very strange outcome, but here we are, I guess. After I closed the cafe and got permission from Azuki-san, we got to work churning out donuts. Oh yeah, they're making donuts for Mana. Kyoko was much more skilled at cooking than I expected, and even Azuki-san and Kokoro were looking on with amazement.
Nanigoto?
Mana must have been drawn here by the smell of donuts. I'm reminded of the legend of Iwato Gakure, let's go with that, the goddess sulking in her cave, drawn out by festivities organized by other gods. Now the first phase of the plan is done. Kyoko and I glance at each other and smile.
Kyoko-sanがドーナツ作ったの。すっごく美味しそうだよ。ドーナツですって？Kyokoが？
Mana looks at Kyoko, and it's obvious from her expression that she's seeing Kyoko in a whole new light.
はい。皆さんのお世話になっているので、感謝の気持ちを込めて。そう。それは至小な心がけね。
She nods with a satisfied smile. Mana, sometimes you're a real open book, aren't you?
お口に合うといいんですけど、無用の心配ね。これだけいい匂いをさせておいて、美味しくないわけがないわ。
Dismissing Kyoko's concern with a word, she looks greedily at the mountain of donuts we made. I was a little worried that we made too many, but judging from her expression, she's ready to slurp them all up.
これ、もう食べてもいいのよね。はい、もちろんです。大試食会。じゃあ、お茶を入れるわ。どうぞ、召し上がれ。
Tentatively, Kyoko places a large plate piled with donuts onto the table.
いただくわ。
Mana drags the plate toward her.
マナーちゃん、どうしてお皿ごと持っていくの？どうぞと言われたから。そうだけど、もしかしてこれを一人で全部食べるつもり？これが私の分ではないの？
Mana, even I don't think you should eat all those. We still have dinner to eat after this, though Mana could probably manage 2 dinners a day without any problem.
私だって食べたいよ。
Me too.
味見くらいはさせてもらいたいわね。
Mana's expression darkens slightly as she senses that some of her donuts might be taken away. Her appetite is really something.
まだ材料はありますから、足りないようならもっと作りましょうか？それには及ばないわ。それより京子、せっかくだからあなたも一緒に食べなさい。
Mana went out of her way to invite someone to eat with her? Her opinion of Kyoko must have skyrocketed in the last few minutes.
そうだよね。独り占めよりみんなで食べる方が絶対美味しいよね。そうね。じゃあみんな手を合わせて。
Let's eat. Huh, delicious.
食感がしっとりしているものとさっくりしているものを作りました。
Personally, I'm more a fan of the latter there.
それぞれプレーンとチョコの味があります。
I'm also more of a fan of the former there. Wow, great. Honestly, whatever's like less messy and less sugary. I mean, you're still gonna be eating a shit ton of sugar. It's basically sugar in a ball. Unless if you bake it a different way, then it's not as sugary. Maybe it's more so what you're putting on it, not in it. Other than that, it's a bagel. The one I got was a plain moist one. It tastes just as good as the ones you can buy at a store. And it's not just because they're fresh out of the fryer. Kyoko's recipe and her cooking skills are top-notch too.
4種類。つまり最低4つは食べないとダメってことだ。
一つが大きいから結構お腹にたまりそうね。
すみません。もっと小さくするべきだったでしょうか。そんなことないわ。ちょうどいい大きさよ。
Mana flatly denies Azuki-san's observation in between bites as she scarfs down one after another.
むしろこれくらいはないと食べた気がしないわ。マナちゃん、ハイペースすぎだよ。そう？むしろ抑えているつもりだけど。
If Mana wanted to, she could down the entire plate before any of us got to our second donut.
そうかも。ちょうどいい甘さだからどんどん食べられるのよ。
そうね。あんまり甘ったるいとすぐ限界が来ちゃうけど。
The thing with donuts is that, yeah, if they are too sugary, they'll just give me a headache.
これはいくらでも入っちゃいそうな感じがする。ありがとうございます。
Kyoko smiles shyly and bows to us. Then she looks down into the side with a bigger smile. Probably Suzuka is standing there.
でも調子に乗ってあんまり食べると危険かな。
Kokodo had started reaching for another donut but hesitates.
危険？何が？
Mana looks at her in astonishment. While she waits for Kokodo's answer, she grabs yet another donut from the plate.
いや、ほら、体重的な意味で。太る心配ということ？うん、そう。
You're thin, so there's no problem if you get a little fatter.
そうですよね。そうかな。
そうね。でも、その油断が積もり積もって、ある日気がつくと、取り返しのつかないところまで来ていたりするのよね。
As she says this, Azuki-san reaches for another donut.
はあ、いいよね、お母さんは。体重増えても全部でしょ？
She looks enviously at Azuki-san's ample bust and sighs again.
あら、それは私もよ。マナちゃんも？私だけ家族の中で仲間外れ。
When I gain weight, my breasts don't get any bigger. I do mostly gain muscle mass rather than fat, though.
兄さんまでそういうこと？いいもん。こんな美味しいもの食べられない方が悲しいもん。
Having made her decision, Kokodo confidently takes another donut and quickly starts attacking it. Honestly, I used to have a pretty fast-ass metabolism throughout my entire life, up until my early 20s, whenever I started going to university, and then everything changed, and I don't have that fast metabolism anymore. Really gotta watch them numbers. Kyoko chuckles. She seems to be enjoying this. She really does seem so much more cheerful than before. It's all thanks to Suzuka appearing. I nonchalantly walk up to Kyoko and discreetly graze my elbow against hers. There she is. Suzuka is standing on the other side of Kyoko from me. She's looking at the donuts on the table. I suddenly remember what Hotaru told me. I have to treat Suzuka well. I take a small plate, put one donut on it, and place it on the table halfway between where Kyoko is sitting and where Suzuka is standing. She must have understood what I'm trying to do. But Suzuka probably can't eat the donut, so will being given one make her frustrated? Kyoko looks at me and nods slightly, as if to say, I know, don't worry. I mean, it's an offering, right? Ghosts are offered things, spirits as well. What the fuck is happening here? Uh-oh. This is the real spooky moment.
お久しぶりです。体重計算。
Also, is this the first time that we're following somebody else in this?
最近は測ってなかったけど、大丈夫だよね。
We were following Hotaru very shortly before we got into Kokodo's mess.
今日は少しだけ食べ過ぎちゃったけど、普段は節制してる。あれ、 よく考えると、食べる量が増えてたかも。兄さんの作るご飯は美味しいし、お母さんも兄さんがたくさん食べるからってメニューを増やしちゃってたし。でも、マナちゃんも京子さんもたくさん食べてるけどスタイルいいし、私も大丈夫だよね。よーし。いきます。そろー
Not gonna lie, guys, I think I gotta get onto the old scale after this one.
今、体重計がきしんだかも。気のせいだよね。気のせい。落ち着いて、ゆっくり深呼吸を。神様、お願いします。出た。
49 kilograms. Hold up.
あれ
Hold up. I gotta... Hold on, let me get the old kilograms to pounds. And we will type in 49. That's nothing. That's 108 pounds. That is absolutely nothing.
これって、
Why is she so scared? That's like nothing. Unless that said 490 kilograms, then oh boy. Ah, so sleepy. As I left the room, I fought to keep a big yawn down. I had been busy with a bunch of things since the morning, so I was tired. Being mindful of Suzuka, building relations with Kyoko and Mana, well, that one thing seemed to have improved quite a bit by making donuts. Even now, Kyoko and Mana were discussing shoujo manga and gradually expanding their conversation. Maybe seeing that had put me at ease, or because it was after a meal, I was suddenly very sleepy. I'd probably wake up if I got in the bath. It'd probably feel good to go to sleep like this, but there was still some homework left to do, so I couldn't go to sleep just yet. Mana wasn't likely going to help, so I couldn't ask Kyoko to help either. Oh right, Kokoro is... Well, something's happening. The instant I pictured Kokoro's face, I heard that voice. Kokoro's scream. When that thought occurred to me, my sleepiness instantly blew away, and I rushed to the source of the voice. Inside the house, it wasn't likely anything life-threatening, but Kokoro's voice was not something casual. Kokoro. Without slowing my momentum, I dashed straight to the washroom. Yeah, that just says 49 kilograms. That's nothing, though. Kokoro, are you alright? What happened? A wild boar?
イノシシよりも豚さんで、お腹とカニの腕がぷくりじゃなくて、兄さん、どうして入ってきてるの？
Because you were screaming.
そうなんだ。心配かけてごめんね。でもなくて、私、裸だから。
Now you got a towel, you're good. Yeah, it's beautiful.
何言ってるの？恥ずかしいから、早く出て行って。
Kokoro. Before I could warn her it was dangerous, Kokoro stepped off the platform. I have the feeling of something soft sitting on top of my body. My back is on the floor. And that's how I know I'm pinned under Kokoro. Oh, come on. Are you... What the fuck just happened? Are you kidding me, game? You have got to be shitting me. This... what? Really? Really, game? Are we really gonna do this?
兄さん、大丈夫？
I can't even show anything right now. Like this is just straight up hentai. Kokoro's towel slips and she's completely naked. Well, now she is. My yukata becomes undone and I'm practically naked. Yeah, you are. Yeah, we were pretty much in the same sort of deal. She normally appears childish, but the chest is most definitely developed, distinctly shaped. This isn't our first time either. Like, wait a minute. Okay, so is there any like more like story here? I'm sorry, I'll go to the living room immediately, so I'd like it if you move. I say that as I avert my eyes, but Kokoro doesn't seem to want to move. Kokoro?
兄さんのが当たってる。
It wouldn't be the first time. It's touching you, so you really need to get away or... Kokoro? Before tumbling down, she had been so embarrassed, but at some point Kokoro's face looks flushed. Oh no. Okay, here we go. Alright. Nothing else to see here, gang. Wait. Forget what you did and go take a bath. Perfect. Perfect. Yes, let's just forget about all this.
お風呂に入るね。
With her expression turning dull, she stands up as if sleepwalking. Then she unsteadily enters the bathroom. Seeing that, I took a deep breath of relief. While this was something I had done to know Kokoro's feelings, in the end everything happened mostly according to her pace. Kotoru had said that I was underestimating Kokoro. Kokoro, my sister, is a lewd girl. It's all that, built up whatever the fuck. Yeah, I really wasn't expecting all of that to happen. Straight up. That seemed really just out of nowhere. Way too coincidental how it all played out. And I'm not describing how it all played out. It's the start of a new week. It goes without saying that I walked to school with Kyoko this morning. The need to be within 10 meters of her at all times can be surprisingly inconvenient in various ways. When either of us has to go to the bathroom, we both have to ask to be excused at the same time. Kyoko will have to skip PE, or I'll have to set up some way for us to stay together using my Kotodama. It's looking like it'll be pretty difficult to continue this lifestyle for very long. But more importantly...
もう
Kyoko's behavior is starting to become a problem. It's been 3 days since Suzuka appeared, and now there's some amount of variation in her expressions. I can understand why Kyoko feels so happy about it. But while she's trying to be careful not to interact with Suzuka in front of other people, Kyoko is so happy to be with her that she often slips. Meaning that to other people it looks like she's creepily talking to herself. The atmosphere in the classroom is a little tense. Our classmates aren't actively avoiding Kyoko, but it's obvious that they're paying attention to her odd behavior. I should warn her during the next break. Or we could just use a Kotodama and tell people, not to fucking worry about this shit. As soon as the bell rings, I go to Kyoko's desk. Hey Kyoko, can you come with me for a minute?
はい。
As she nods, I take her hand and lead her out of the classroom. I can feel people staring at us holding hands, but I ignore them for now. Also, again, what was Kokoro screaming about the previous night? I led her into an empty corner of the hallway. There's nobody around here, so there's no risk of us being overheard.
誠くん
When I stop walking, she cocks her head to the side in confusion. Next to her, Suzuka is looking at me with a similar expression. Sorry about that, I was just a little concerned.
え
I think you're interacting with Suzuka a little bit too much in front of other people. She covers her mouth with her hand as her face clouds, excuse me. It seems she gets my drift.
ごめんなさい。気をつけていたつもりだったんですけど。出てました
Oh yeah. It's not just me. It's clear that everyone in the class can tell something's up. They look at you and see you laughing to yourself, looking surprised, and so on. She hangs her head and slumps her shoulders. Suzuka looks on curiously at Kyoko's reaction. I understand why you're so excited about being with her, though. As I continue, I look down at Suzuka. It's clear that her self-awareness is growing over time. Yeah, she's actually got a little bit of a different expression this time. Until just a little while ago, she seemed like a doll, but now she's able to react when people talk to her. Thanks to her, you've become much more cheerful, and I think that's great. It's just, I think you should avoid letting that show in front of other people.
はい。誠くんの言う通りですね。ごめんなさい。昔と同じ失敗をしてしまうところでした。気をつけます。周りを気味悪がらせていたら、ますます友達になってくれる人なんていなくなっちゃいますよね。
As long as you understand, that's good enough for me. I'm not mad at her or anything. It's just, things are going so well for you right now, so I feel bad to have to warn you over something stupid like this.
はい。ご忠告ありがとうございます。
She nods in assent and then turns back to look at Suzuka.
ごめんね、鈴鹿。あなたの相手がここではできないの。
Does Suzuka understand what Kyoko is saying or not? I can't tell just by looking.
いい子だから、なるべくおとなしくしていてね。
When is she not being quiet? Let's be real here.
帰ったら、また遊ぼうね。
They're really like a pair of sisters.
本当に、何から何までありがとうございます。気合を入れて、気をつけますね。
Thankfully, she seems to be taking me seriously, but... Well, if things really start looking bad, I'll help you out, but... So don't stress out too much over it. Knowing Kyoko, she could very well take me a little too seriously, try too hard, and make things worse.
いえ、ただでさえ誠くんにはご迷惑をおかけしているのに、これ以上は。
She waves her hands flustered. I don't see it that way. I've come this far to help her, so I might as well go all the way. Anyway, just try to be careful, that's all. Okay, let's go back.
はい。
She agrees verbally, but for some reason she doesn't start walking. She clutches my hand, trembling. Kyoko, what's wrong?
ごめんなさい。足がすくんじゃって。
This isn't good. I remember Kokoto explaining that people used to think Kyoko was weird in grade school since she would talk to ghosts in front of people. My warning might have made her remember her social trauma from back then. It's alright. I'm here, and so is Suzuka. Don't worry. I whisper the Kotodama into her ear and adjust my grip on her hand. Suzuka takes Kyoko's other hand as if imitating me. Kyoko's expression immediately changes to a smile.
今の言霊ですよね。
Yes, but a pretty weak one. How do you feel? Do you think you can walk now?
はい。もう大丈夫です。本当にありがとうございます。
She happily steps forward. Sorry to cut you off. The trembling of her legs has completely stopped. Great, keep going. I wonder if Suzuka's presence is doing something. I have a feeling that it is. Like, maybe a curse of some sort? Unfortunately, we're too late. As soon as we come in the door, an obvious murmur spreads through the class. Of course, we can't exactly turn around and leave again at this point. Kyoko and I make our way back to our desks, trying our best to ignore the stares. And a few moments later, the teacher arrives and class begins. Suzuka must be staying still, since I can see that Kyoko isn't making any strange motions or talking to thin air anymore. The lesson goes by smoothly. At least something's, sort of working out this time around, I guess. But I do have a bad feeling, like I just said. Once it's over, I start to go back to Kyoko's desk again. I'm worried that if I leave her alone in this kind of atmosphere, she'll start getting nervous again. But before I can, Koichi comes by my desk to talk.
なあ、お前、もしかして朝比奈と付き合うことにしたのか?
Huh? Not really. Why? By going out with, he means to ask whether Kyoko and I are lovers. She and I are friends, but we aren't lovers. We've never talked to each other about love either.
いや、そうか。まあそうじゃないかとはなんとなく思ったが。ほら、さっき手を引いて出て行って、また手を引いて戻ってきただろ? しかも今朝は一緒に登校したらしいって噂も聞いたしな。
Ah, I see. That must mean people here consider those to be things that lovers do. I also get the feeling that several nearby classmates are eavesdropping on my conversation with Koichi.
まあでも、お前が違うって言うなら別にいいんだ。
I mean, I don't think we are. Kyoko, we aren't lovers, are we? Kyoko is sitting at her desk and watching us talk, so I throw the question to her.
もちろんです。そんな、私なんかが誠くんとお付き合いするなんて、あまりにも恐れ多いですし。
Well, that got depressing.
お友達になっていただいただけでも、身に余る光栄なのに恋人なんて、とても。
She shrinks into her chair and looks down at her desk. See, she agrees with me. I don't think her explanation leaves any room for doubt, but for some reason Koichi's smile looks a little ironic.
その割には下の名前で呼び合ってるんじゃないか。
Well, we're friends after all.
ま、お前はそうなんだろうな。
He mutters as he glances at Kyoko.
今日の朝比奈の様子がおかしかった原因は そこかと思っちまってな。
What is?
朝比奈の方には友達以上の意識があるんじゃないかと思ったってことさ。
I doubt that. I know that Suzuka is the reason behind her strange behavior today. But hang on a moment. Does this mean that Kyoko's behavior can be explained away by this misconception? Well, I can't predict the future. We do get along. She even made donuts for Mana.
ほう？
I hear people whispering, I knew it, see, they're practically family already. Out of the corner of my eye, I catch a glimpse of Mana, who had been ignoring this whole ruckus, and see her eyebrow twitch slightly. So what I'm saying is, there's always a possibility. I mean, we're in the same class, so there's even a possibility you might go out with her one day, don't you think?
それはねえよ。
He mutters in a low voice before continuing in a more normal tone.
いや、俺にはもう彼女がいるって前に言ったろ。
Yeah, like way in the beginning. Why did his face cloud over for just a moment? Does he have something against Kyoko? Bro, we're like 25 episodes into this playthrough, and like, we're now asking that question? It's obvious. It's obvious there's something that he has against her. Kyoko looks up from her desk with a determined look on her face and interrupts us.
誠くんが私なんかと噂になったらご迷惑だと思うので、ちゃんと言っておきます。私、確かに誠くんに憧れています。誠くんが転校してきてすぐに友達を作っていたのを見て、すごいな、羨ましいなって思ったからで、どうやったら私も誠くんみたいにみんなと仲良くできるのか、秘訣を教えてもらいたい。つまり、弟子入りみたいなものなんです。だから、誤解しないでください。
The whole class falls silent for a moment, partly because she made her declaration in a louder voice than anyone usually heard her from. But within seconds, the whole class starts giggling. They're not laughing maliciously, it's more like they're laughing in relief. And I don't think their reaction is about my love life. I hear more whispers. Asahina-san just wanted to make friends, so she wasn't just being aloof. As if suddenly realizing what she's done, Kyoko blushes deeply and buries her face in her desk again.
そうか。なるほどな。
Koichi nods with a strangely refreshed expression.
くだらない話をして悪かったな。
Koichi? He doesn't answer and returns to his seat, waving goodbye. I never quite followed his thinking during our conversation, but it seems like the whole class's attitude towards Kyoko has improved a little now. And I think that's a wonderful development. The thing is that we're still on like the main plot route right now. We haven't diverged onto Kyoko's own personal route. So this is some permanent shit that's happening, and I love it. That change in attitude bore fruit almost immediately. As soon as lunch break started, I saw several classmates crowd around Kyoko's desk. They had brought textbooks and notes, so I assumed they were asking for her help understanding some tricky parts of the lesson. I'd never seen this happen before. Now that the classmates have left, Kyoko sits back in her chair and sighs with a satisfied expression on her face. It looks like you got a good chance to speak to all those people. I walk up to her desk, and when she sees me, her face lights up.
はい、おかげさまで。
Were you teaching them something?
そうです。授業で先生の説明が今一つよくわからなかったから教えてほしいって言われて、順を追って最初から説明したらよくわかったってすごく感謝されました。
Always trust the quiet people. Except for when they tell you... Actually, no, most definitely when they tell you not to come to school. Through a text message. But that's great.
はい。本当は前から話してみたいと思ってたんだけど、近寄りがたい雰囲気だったから言われました。一人が好きで友達なんか煩わしいから欲しくないのかと思ってたって。
She knocks on her temple with one hand, smiling shyly.
私、自分で友達を遠ざけていたんですね。本当に反省です。
I'm glad all those misconceptions were put to rest. Her passionate declaration earlier seemed very off the cuff, but I think that's probably what made it so effective.
ええ、どうも私、結構お高く泊まった人だと思われてたみたいです。 自分では考えたこともなかったんですけど。
I can sort of believe that people might get that impression if they only saw her from afar and never talked to her. She's beautiful, gets good grades, has a special air about her, rarely talks to anyone, and on top of that, she's a shrine maiden rumored to have special powers. Now that I've become more used to the school environment, I can start to see how out of place she must look to everyone else. Of course, the same goes for me and Mana, and the class accepted us readily enough. They're all friendly people. So maybe the odds were always on Kyoko's side. All she needed was some kind of opportunity to break the ice. Well then, to help erase that impression of you, why don't you try to actively dispel it? The more odd things she does, the more she'll be pushing people away. Conversely, the more normal things she does, the more she'll be attracting them to her. Why don't you start by eating lunch together with us in the classroom? That way people will see that you can be talkative with your friends.
なるほど。
The more people see her laughing and talking with people, the more their impression of her will improve. But if you don't want to, that's fine too. I'm not forcing you.
嫌だなんてそんな。むしろ光栄です。ただ。お兄ちゃん、お腹が空いたわ。早くお昼にしましょう。
Sure, Kyoko's joining us today.
そう。
Mana simply nods in reply without asking anything more.
すみません。私なんかがご一緒させていただいて。別に構わないわよ。あなたの作ったドーナツ、本当に美味しかったし。
I was right. The donuts really have pushed Kyoko a few dozen rungs up the ladder in Mana's mind.
ありがとうございます。実は今日もおやつ用に少し作ってきたんですけど、いかがですか？いただくわ。
Well, alright. Oh hey, oh yeah, hey Koichi, do you want to join us too? I call out to Koichi, who's getting up from his desk.
ああ、俺は遠慮しとくわ。今日はちょっとそういう気分じゃないんだ。せっかく誘ってくれたのに悪いな。
Okay, well that's too bad, but oh well, maybe some other time.
あ、
I wonder what his deal is. Him and his girlfriend, him and his, not really liking Kyoko all that much sort of deal, or at least not wanting to be around her. I don't really know what it is, you know? He glances briefly at Kyoko and then leaves the classroom. Kyoko looks a little put out. This isn't the first time I've thought this, but I wonder if something happened between Kyoko and Koichi in the past. I'll have to ask one of them when I get the chance. Yeah, please do, because it's been on my mind for however long that we've been at this school. After we finish eating, Kyoko and Mana return to their seats. Koichi returns at just about the same time. Maybe now is a good time to ask him about Kyoko.
今日放課後時間あるか？
Or so I thought, but apparently there's something he wants to talk to me about first. Sure, what's up?
いや、ちょっと話をしたくてな。俺と朝比奈のことだ。
Oh, alright, I mean, fucking tell us.
気になってるんじゃないか？
Yeah, I noticed that you both seem to pay special attention to each other. Like you try to avoid looking at each other. I wondered if there was some kind of issue between you two.
やっぱりな。
Well, will you tell me about it?
ああ、ただちょっと長くなるからこの場で話すのはな。
It's crazy how he's willing to openly tell us about this now. Okay.
だから後で中庭に来てくれ。そこで説明する。用事があるから結構遅い時間になるかもしれないが。
That's fine. I don't have anything particular planned for this afternoon anyway. It must be a pretty complicated story if you can't tell it here. I should probably also make sure Mana and Kokoro go home without me. Also, what are we gonna do about the 10-meter thing with Kyoko? Could we have her like hiding in the bushes or some shit? It's like an invisible chain of some sort. By the time Koichi arrives in the courtyard, the sun is starting to set. He walks up to me with 2 bottled drinks in one hand.
悪い、すっかり遅くなっちまったな。
Don't worry about it. I was just reading a book while I waited.
そうか。
He holds out one of the bottles to me. For me?
ああ、遅れた詫びだ。炭酸は飲めるよな。
Yeah, thank you. After I take the bottle, Koichi smiles and sits down next to me. But he doesn't say anything, nor does he open his bottle. As I watch him, I take sips from mine. Eventually, as if he was waiting for me to finish my soda, He finally starts to speak.
俺には年が一つ違う
Ah,
姉がいたん
fucking
だ。
shit. Yep, I called it. His words seem sudden after the long silence.
まあ、いたっていう過去形の通りで、10年も前のことなんだけどな。
I can't believe I actually called this shit. I cannot fucking believe it. It's Suzuka. Duh.
名前は鈴
Yep,
鹿っていう。
there it is. I called it last episode. I did, or the episode before, one of those. But I called it. I was like, huh, what if this, you know? I can't believe it. I'm a fucking genius whenever I'm able to, like, just, you know, predict these things correctly. And so accurately, too. And then all the other times I feel like an idiot. He looks at me, gauging my reaction.
その顔は知ってたって感じだな。朝比奈から聞いたか。
Yeah, but I didn't know she was your elder sister.
そうか。どこまで聞いてる？
She was Kyoko's best friend, but she passed away in an accident down at the lake.
そうだ。鈴鹿が死んで朝比奈だけが生き残った。それが当時の俺にはあまりにもやるせなくてな。今から思えばバカなことをしたと思うんだが、朝比奈にも辛く当たっちまったんだ。
I think that's like a normal human thing to do. Like, you want to put the blame on somebody, right? So you're going to put the blame on the person who survived. It's not the right thing to do, but it's kind of expected. And understanding that that was wrong is also a very mature and, you know, overall moral, ethical, whatever the fuck thing to do.
お前のせいで鈴鹿が死んだんじゃないかってひどいことを言ってな。
I see. Considering his age at the time and the trauma of losing a family member, it's understandable that he might have lashed out. See, there you go. But, you know, he grew up and he learned and all that. And now 10 years later, he does seem to regret it.
本当に辛くて苦しんでいたのは目の前で鈴鹿を亡くした朝比奈なんだってことがその時の俺には分からなかった。自慢の姉を亡くした弟の俺が一番辛くて一番悲しいんだと思い込んでた。
Koichi relaxes his tight grip on the bottle he's holding and opens the cap. He swallows whatever words he was about to say next and washes them down with some soda.
それで結局お互いに距離を取るようになっちまってな。まあ朝比奈も朝比奈で俺に対して申し訳ないという気持ちがあったんだろうと思う。
Yeah, you're right. Kyoko really blamed herself for what happened to Suzuka.
だろうな。そういう性格なんだ、昔から。だからなかなか友達ができなくて鈴鹿も放っておかなかったんだ。なのに俺は姉の信用を傷つけて孤独へ追いやっちまった。
What did you want to do now, Koichi? Do you want to mend your relationship with Kyoko?
そうだな。そうできたらいいとは思うんだが、それも身勝手な話だとも思う。ガキの時と同じで自分がモヤモヤしているのをすっきりさせたいだけのような。そうじゃないか。
I think everyone is a little bit like that. Everyone wants to heal. It's like how Kyoko had longed for closure for all these years, and that's why she's so happy now after meeting Suzuka's ghost.
そうかもな。許されたい、救われたいってやつか。だとしても一方的にこっちの気持ちを押し付けることはもうできない。それが10年もかかってようやく俺が学んだ苦い教訓だ。
I know I think the night that Kyoko came to the cafe because she, you know, was tied to Makoto during the whole Suzuka deal coming out of, you know, nowhere and tying them together 10 meters, that Mana was trying what she could to also see Suzuka contact with Kyoko. But did they try Kyoko contact with Makoto and then one of the two contact with Mana? Because what if they are, you know, joined together, they can also pass on to just anybody else? It would also be really good for Koichi here to also see her, I think. You're a good man, Koichi. I mean it. It may have taken a long time, but he finally reached that conclusion all on his own.
今日の朝比奈、やたらと楽しそうだったから何かあったんじゃないかと思ってな。それがお前のおかげだとしたら礼を言おうと思ったんだ。
No, I haven't really done anything important.
友達になったってだけでも十分すぎるくらい大したことさ。
He smiles and claps me on the shoulder.
まあとにかく俺と朝比奈の関係はそういうことだ。
Well, I'm glad it was. Well, I mean, it was serious. I was gonna say I'm glad it wasn't anything, too serious. I thought it was like they dated one time or something like that, and then it got awkward. But it didn't really fit her character for that to actually be it. So, learning about Suzuka and seeing the two of them still be very iffy between one another, it's hard not to put those two things together and figure it out.
昔の
At
こ
least
と
in
を
my
ずるずる
opinion.
引きずっちまってる。
The idiot.
いいことじゃないとは思うが、なかなかな。
He squints up at the setting sun.
別にお前に仲立ちしてほしいとは思っちゃいないんだ。ただ、朝比奈とうまくやっているなら、これからもよろしく頼む。
I will. Of course, I'd do that even if he didn't ask me to.
じゃあまたな。遅い時間に呼び出して悪かった。
He walks away briskly down towards the front gate. I wave at him as he recedes into the distance. Well, you heard what he said. I speak aloud in a low voice and then start walking myself. A few seconds later, a third person starts walking too. I mean, she had to be there. They're less than 10 meters behind me, naturally. At that kind of distance, sometimes you can't help but overhear people talking, even if they're keeping their voices down. Kyoko doesn't say anything, and I don't look back. But I don't have to look at her in the face to know that there's a happy smile on it. This was good. This was a good episode here. Learning about this, I think, was very, very important, and I'm glad we were able to. I'm a little short on this one, I think, just by a few minutes than I really wanted to, but we'll end it here. I gotta cut out that H scene. The H scene that truly came out of nowhere. And yeah, we'll call it for this episode. Kyoko 5. I don't know how many more parts, or whatever you want to call them, there are for her story. I would assume not as much as Kokoro's, because that kind of included, us joining the story, joining the fray, if you will. But yeah, this was a good episode. We're really making some fantastic advancements in understanding people. The main plot, whatever the fuck that is right now, isn't important. But, this whole Suzuka thing is very interesting, and it's actually showing some real development. I'm loving this, truly. And it's actually going to keep a permanent impact on the story going forward, which is super great, honestly. So, really interested to see where everything will go. But thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy shit, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.